All right, good evening, Canada Tortoise Capital Nightly Strategy Podcast for May 2nd, 2024. We'll start with the 30-minute hybrid swing portfolio. This is Alcoa, 30 minutes on the charts, the bar charts. The yellow box represents the daily range. So this was a close, gap down, reverse, continued higher, 2-bar high. Standard entry long. It rolls over near the top of the day for straight up about 3R. AI was a initial short after a huge gap up. Here was the close. Here was the gap up. It ran up, ran down. We got short. It ran all the way to the bottom and came back up. So we cleared for 2R. After it made it up through the Bollinger Band mean and the anchored VWAPs and the spine of the dragon, we got long again. Standard risk. This thing rolled up and closed here for an additional 1R. So net about 3R for the day. Caterpillar, 1, 2, 3 entry for a fraction. Cliff, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 entry for an R. Standard exit. CVS, no trade. DIA, we had 2 trades. One was a gap fail. Gapped up, rolled across the anchored VWAPs and began to collapse. New low of the day, short, standard risk, sold off, recovered up to the skin of the dragon, exited here for 2R. It mucked around at midday. Then it made a higher low. That's a Kata 2 entry. Standard risk. Exit near the skin of the dragon for 2R. So that's a total of 4 in DIA available. Great trading vehicle. Disney, 1, 2, 3 entry. Standard exit at the skin of the dragon for 3R. Devon Energy. So this was a gap. This was, here was the close. Here was the gap up. Sold off and then continued higher. So we got long here as it crossed the 5-day anchored VWAP standard risk. It ran all the way up and then came back, and I managed to just scratch, very poorly managed. Stop and reverse here. That sold off hard and reversed to the skin of the dragon for 1, 2, 3, 4R. And then stabilized the rest of the day. Emerging markets was a great trade as usual. As I said, here's that big gap. The big gap up, sold off briefly, then made a new high of the day. That's a 1, 2, 3 entry. Standard risk. It did nothing but go up. When this rolled over, we took the exit here for 1, 2, 3, 4. Probably could have had a second position in here, but it was a span of control and risk management. ETHE, the Ethereum. This was a 1, 2, 3 entry intraday. So it sold off to here, gapped up to here. 1, 2, 3. Standard risk. Skin of the dragon exit, 1R. Very routine. Mexico, this was a merry-go-round, I suppose. Here was the close yesterday. Here was the open today. It sold off and then resumed higher. New high of the day, entered long, rolled back, exit, chopped around. Late in the afternoon, it broke down through the dragon, through the PSAR, tried the short. It was pretty sloppy on the exit, so that's basically a scratch for the whole day in Mexico. Not very well done. No trade Brazil. Home Depot. I missed the morning fireworks with this big sell-off and recovery. Later in the day, when it stabilized, there was still some time left. It was breaking through the 5-day anchored VWAP and above the dragon. So I treated that as an emerging dragon with standard risk, ran all the way up and then back for 1R. Opportunity trade there. Intel, no trade. IP, there were two trades. One was here was a gap up, sold off, recovered, started to fail again, short, scratch, rising lows, broke out of the dragon, long with a standard risk, exit near the end of the day for about 1R. IYR, this was a gap and fail, so it gapped here, failed down through the Bollinger Band mean. There's your Bollinger Band mean. And was getting ready to cross the anchored VWAP, so we got short with a standard risk, sold off hard, began to recover, and I gave back so much on that one. It's just very poorly managed on my part. Much better exits available. This continued to give me a 1, 2, 3 entry. So I held my nose and entered, standard risk, and this one rewarded all is forgiven, 2R. Coca-Cola. 1, 2, 3 entry in the morning. Standard exit, half an hour. Pretty much a grind on that one. Regional banks, gap up and fail, short and scratched. Not much follow through there. I missed the afternoon. McDonald's no trade, 3M no trade, Merck no trade, Microsoft tried the gap and fail short and scratched. Again, not very good management. Marijuana, no trade. One of the few times it hasn't moved. Nike, this is a intraday kind of a kata 2, rolls up, recovers, breaks above the R10 and the Bollinger Band mean, standard risk. It grinds a little bit for about an R. NVIDIA. It sells off and reverses intraday, comes north of the VWAP above the dragon, so I'm long. Standard risk, scratch. It resumes, new high of the day, entry, standard risk. It closes here, and I'm taking this as this is my only overnight position. I have a belief in NVIDIA. I'm going to live with it. That's the 5-day anchored VWAP. That's the 30-day. I like the fact that it's been able to recover this whole with higher lows and the PSAR is favorable. So I'm going to hold that one overnight with about a 1R of protection. PBW, this was a morning reversal, so it gapped up, sold off, recovered, came through the Bollinger Band mean, the PSAR, the spine of the dragon, the skin of the dragon, the 5-day anchored VWAP, the 3-day anchored VWAP. So finally, I just bought it and put the risk box on it, and it rewarded with this for about 3R. That's PBW. That's one of our top 5 intraday traders. Palantir, the same trade, but scratched and missed the afternoon. Rivian, same trade. It's that gap up, sell off to the low, and now it's holding at the 5-day anchored VWAP, the Bollinger Band main, the 3-day anchored VWAP, the PSAR, the bottom of the dragon. That feels like support. And then when it resumes and then breaks out here, just buy it with a tight risk. And it finally rewards, came all the way back to here. So we captured about 5R on that one. That afternoon burst in Rivian. Amazing move. Let's see, Tesla, 1, 2, 3, that reversal in the morning, no follow through. Walmart, this was here was the close, a slight gap up and sell off. It ran up, crossed the Bollinger Band mean, so I get long here. Standard risk, runs all the way up. Near the end of the day, exiting for 2R in Walmart. US Steel, gap, then in fail for a scratch. Took the lunchtime reversal as it crossed the spine of the dragon and the 5-day anchored VWAP, along with the standard risk for half an hour exit near the end of the day. XLI, this was here was the close yesterday. Here was the gap up opening, and it sold off. So short, it ran all the way down and then reversed back up, cashed it here for about 1R. It continued to go up. That's a 1, 2, 3 entry. It ran up to here and then down for a scratch. It continued to give me rising lows. It crossed the Bollinger Band mean. Long, standard risk, captured 1R. That was so a net of 2, because you get 1 here and 1 there. That felt like a lot of work for 2R. Sniper trades of the day are next. Excuse me. This is 3-minute charts on Alcoa. Here is yesterday's close. Here's a 1, 2, 3 entry long, which loses half an R. When it breaks to a new high of the day and the R10 crosses the Bollinger Band mean and leaves the dragon, get long here with the standard risk, standard exit, caught a 2 re-entry, scratch, caught a 2 re-entry, up 2R battle drill, standard exit at the PSAR. 3 on this one, 1 on that one for a total of 4 out of that series. And scratch and 1 here and half an hour loss there. So that nets 0. So total for the day on that one about 4R. This one isn't, oops, not marked. We didn't trade that one, but AI was certainly moving. EWW, this is your OR3. This was an opportunity to play the COTA 2 long. Standard risk. It sold off immediately for a half an hour loss. Broke to an emerging dragon long, sold off for half an hour risk. Stopped and reversed here as it crossed the Bollinger Band main, sold off and then scratched. Reversed as it crossed the VWAP and the Bollinger Band mean. That gives about an R. Now this one is interesting because it's a double collapsing dragon and it's breaking below the VWAP. Short with the standard risk. Second collapsing dragon. Recovery or exit at the PSAR. In the afternoon, the this started collapsing, so I gave it a speculative entry short, and it gave me another 2R in that afternoon. So EWW is a beautiful intraday trader. This one was 2, that one was 3, that one was 1, and that's a -2. So that gives us 2 and 2 cancel. So that gives us 4. All right, let's find the traders here. See how they did today. Hamad. Got chopped up in here a little bit for minus 1.7. There's no movement in here. So after the first 2, let's find a mover. There were things that were moving. Devon Energy was a mover, and my spider sense is that on a move from here, where this rolls over and crosses the VWAP and then stays below the VWAP the whole rest of the day, out of this move, somehow we got to do better than minus 0.2. So there's some refinement we got to work on in this one. Like we're cutting it short early and then missing the downward move. So we're giving back all of those gains because we're delaying the re-entries. Like when you get out here and then re-enter here, you give up that move, but then you suffer that move. So, and then don't take this one. And then that's where the underperformance is coming from. It's trusting your stops maybe a little more. AMD, this one was a little unfortunate with the late exit on this move. And there's the bottom of your RL10. We'd like to exit at the skin of the dragon rather than up here. Then if you were able to get out here, then that looks like an attractive entry, which is a little better than this one. And when this whole thing rolls over, there's only slight improvements available. That's a pretty good entry. But if you're going from here to there, you make money on that one instead of a scratch. Gave it a couple tries in here. That's worth it. That's staying out of the chop. That's well done. Brian, a couple short losses in here for minus 0.3. Still in great shape. Wasn't much movement today. There was an opportunity here, which he notices. He notices that that's a tradable move. Yeah, if you're going to have a downside bias, then hit that trade here. That's that's a long wait for that spike and then a collapse back through the dragon is sort of an indication. Kevin, let's see what we got here. So here's the start of trading. I like that long. That's a good exit. I like the re-entry. This is the indicated exit, and then we could be short here, which would probably end up scratching. So we might have been able to reduce the losses in there. This is after this short. This is actually the place to be long. And then when it crosses below the VWAP, that's the indication for short. Comes to the VWAP and rejects, that's the indication for short. You got to really respect the VWAP during the day. I mean, that thing is the 50-yard line. It really is the Mason-Dixon line. It's hard for a Canadian to understand, I know. Teasing, of course. The 30 minutes on EWW, let's see, he's trying this breakout on the daily high. That's a reasonable exit, and we could be short there, and he is, and he makes 0.8 to offset this. You got what was available. This might have been an indication for another short side shot. Let's see, George, there just wasn't much available on that one. So he didn't chase. That's good. The only thing I might say is, again, this is supposed to fail right away. It doesn't. Maybe when it comes up into here, we can get out as it leaves the dragon as a slight improvement. Not much improvement, but a little bit. That's a good 1, 2, 3 exit. That's well done. This is AI. Oh man, you really got to respect AI for its opportunities to stop and reverse. Wow, especially off of this support level. When this failed to fail, and it comes up here, and you take that 1 hour hit, crosses the VWAP and the Bollinger Band. Man, I want to take that trade right there. Especially in AI, as wildly as that thing moves intraday. Just wasn't much movement there at all in MSOS. That's an unusual day for MSOS. It's normally the market leader out of our trading vehicles for large moves, but not today. HD, and I'm just gonna again, re-entry. Crossing the Bollinger Band mean, crossing the VWAP, and this is a COTA 2. Oh boy. Alrighty, let's go. The 150-day look back, we closed better today. We're up, that black line is where we closed near the top of the day. So we have this cushion still to the crucial 30-day low and the collapsing dragon to the south. So well postured for fireworks Friday. Nice intraday recovery. And let's see where we are with respect to the anchored VWAPs. Price reversed off this bottom off of the PSAR and recovered up through the daily VWAP, the 10-day VWAP, the 3-day VWAP, the 5-day VWAP, and closed right there. And so now all we got to do is get through the high of the day tomorrow and the 30-day VWAP, which is near the 10-day high, is all in. That's all in play. Now that's going to be solid resistance, but that's a tactical move that's available. If it gets above 511 tomorrow, that bodes well for next week, but I wouldn't be surprised to see that kind of a move. At some point, people will say there's support, rising support, rising support. We're still, and we got higher highs in the turning points, right? So that means this should be able to get from here to there and still be within that long channel. That's still an available move for tomorrow. And I'll be ready for that. By the same token, it wouldn't be surprising to see this come back and test the low. So you got that same size move in either direction, and that makes this a perfect critical state, compound critical state in either direction from around the close, ready to go north or south, right at the 50-yard line. So bullish volatile had a little bit of recovery today. Risk is back on as the VWAP, I'm sorry, the risk Z now gets above the zero line. So that's the first little favorable news on that front that we've had for a while. Lots to choose from in terms of the auto framer. 15DD and Cisco, Apple and Boeing, Nvidia. I really like Nvidia here. Told my kids to buy some for the long haul. Do your own due diligence. It's not a recommendation. Pfizer was strong today. Boeing was strong today. Another 5DD and Merck. Lots of dojis today, a small range day. So it's a tactical buyer's market tomorrow. Emerging markets had really surprising strength today, the best mover. And I don't own it overnight, but if that shows any kind of strength tomorrow, that would be a top 5 priority to get long that one, because that got better on a 10-day, 1 month, 3 month, and 6 month breakout. That's really significant, fellas. Auto framer for those of you doing swing trading 1 day at a time. Lots of squeezes and lots of auto framers and just 3 squeezes. Walgreens, Intel, and AXP. Intel, I'm of mixed feelings about. I'm really shifting my attention over to Texas Instruments, AMD, and NVIDIA in the chip space. Intel may be broken beyond repair. Hard to say. Lots of symbols better than 2 to 1 on the reward to risk. Intel, Cliff, Cat, Microsoft, US Steel. Plenty to choose from. Still being dominated by the spring in the 4 seasons MACD. The globals are recovering nicely. Some real strength in here in EEM. That's why I'm ready for that thing to follow through tomorrow. ILA and EFA. So the globals were good today. These are all globals, not not US. I see us in a critical state for tomorrow and going into the weekend where you have this nice little run up in the Z-score of the 10 period, which is starting to cool. And you have the RL30 Z-score out of the river and dropping, but just started to hook back up because of the strength in the 10. So that is really uncertain. And then you have this long slide in the 90, which has come back to the upper edge of normal. So you actually have all 3 Z-scores at a place where it could break hard in either direction. So maximum uncertainty tomorrow. And if you look at the price action, it's hovering around the lower skin of the river, which is where beginning of trending behavior could fail, or has a nice rebound up to the high of the day. So a perfectly positioned compound critical state. What you have to like is the higher lows here. And that means there's enough room to make a nice move to the upside. So I do have a long side bias tomorrow, like 60-40. I'm ready to hit that one pretty hard. All right, that's everything for today. We'll get this published and posted and catch you tomorrow. Take good care, guys.